12 p.m. Central African time, coming to you live from our Auckland Park studios. This is the first hour of On Point. Thanks so much for being with us. My name is Gupta. In the headlines at this hour, global markets have fallen sharply today as U.S. inflation stayed above 8%. Nastasia Arendse is at the JSE.
All right, well, let's get into that particular picture when it comes to those markets. As Gupta just mentioned, the global markets being roiled up by that figure that we got, coming in at 8.3% versus the expectation of 8.1%. You may remember the previous figure came in at 8.5%, and this has taken away the idea that U.S. inflation has peaked. At this particular point, it's saying that it's slowing down, but it's not slowing down at the pace that at least the Fed would find that the aggressive hikes might not necessarily be important at this particular stage. When we hone into the actual figures, the reason that it came in at 8.3% was because we saw a slight reprieve when it comes to gasoline prices. In the beginning of the pandemic, when we started to see inflation tick up around about 2020, 2021, what was pushing U.S. inflation was what was happening from the goods side of things. But we are seeing that the services side, when it comes to airlines and, of course, restaurant activity, that's pushing inflation. The other concern for analysts at this particular point is the fact that we are seeing wages push up. Supply, of course, labor supply from the U.S. side at this particular point is particularly tight. So what we're seeing now is that market reaction filtering through, whether it's the Asian or European markets that opened a little bit later. But of course, we are going to be getting into those specific announcements around those particular figures and why we're pushing up a little bit red.
The National Prosecuting Authority wants the High Court in Bloemfontein to grant it a restraining order to ensure that Gupta assets remain in state hands. More than 10,000 people have tested positive for coronavirus in the last 24 hours. And SABC News will bring you stories from across the country as the world honors our frontline workers on this International Nurses Day.